Hey guys, so I am working on a cake for my cousin's little girl, and she's turning 5 and she's into unicorns and rainbows and that kind of thing. So I have made a 6-layer cake. Each layer is a different color and flavor, and I'm going to do a rainbow on the front. So I thought I'd show you all how simple it is to work with fondant. So I've washed my hands, I've got my fondant colors here. I did some pink, some light orange, some yellow, some green, blue, purple color, and then this is just black. So I've got my marshmallow fondant, and I've shown you all that before about how to make fondant. But I'm just gonna make this into a rainbow to begin with, and that's gonna go on the bottom tier of the cake. So I've got the pink that I've pinched off some of it, and I'm just gonna roll this into kind of a long tube kind of thing. And like I said, this is really simple to do. It just takes time. I've got a little mat down here, and then I've got some parchment paper over it. So sometimes the fondant will kind of roll and slide back and forth on the parchment, but once you get it going, you can get it rolled out at a pretty decent width. I don't want it to be too thin, but I don't want it to be too thick either. And I know the light's not good in here. I need to bring another light in here, but I'm just gonna do this with each piece of this, each color, and I'll put them all together and I'll show you what it looks like whenever I'm done. Okay, so I've got all of my little colors rolled out, and they're all separate. So all these are different colors of fondant. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water and brush it on one side of the fondant. And then I'm just going to stick the next color to it so that the water makes that sticky marshmallow fondant stick together. And then I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to go down the side of this one. And then I'm going to add on the yellow. And as you can see, it's not that difficult to do. Next, I'm going to add on the green. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little water and attach the green to the yellow. Next, I'm going to add on the blue to the green. So I'm just going to do the same thing again. Just kind of painting on a little bit of water so it gets that stickiness going. And the purple. And after I get the rainbow done, I'm going to cut out some letters for Sure's name. That's the little girl that the birthday cake is for. And then after that, I'm going to make a unicorn horn and eyes. And as you can see, there's our little rainbow. I'm just going to cut off the sides so that they're kind of flat. So I've got my little pizza cutter here, and I'm just going to go right through on both sides. And there you go. Perfect little rainbow, right? Isn't that cute? So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out some black. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. I'm going to put this rainbow up to the side so it can dry. So I washed my hands because I was kneading this black fondant, and as you knead it, sometimes it sticks to your hands. So anytime that you have a problem getting fondant off of your hands, it's really easy just to rub some oil or some shortening on there and then wash them. It comes right off. But I did knead this black fondant, and now I am going to roll it flat And I do have some parchment paper on here, which makes it a little more difficult to roll, but I do like to have parchment ready so that whenever I'm getting name letters or smaller things cut out, that they won't stick to the mat or to each other or what have you. So I do have my parchment paper sitting aside, and I've got the black rolled out now, nice and thin, as you can see. So I'm going to sit it back over here on the parchment paper. And I have some letters, and I'm just going to get each of the letters that I need for her name. So I press down and push, and there's your letter, if it'll come off of here. Normally it comes right off. So of course, whenever I'm trying to show you, that's whenever it doesn't. So we may have to do this one over. Okay, we'll try this again. There it comes. So there's your S. Of course, I'll have to like clean up the edges. So I'll use my little fondant tools to get it cleaned up. But then I need a U. So I'm gonna cut out the U, which it cut, but it didn't come all the way off. So I'm gonna set that to the side. And again, I'll have to clean up the little edges. Now I need an R. There's the R. And an E. There's the E. See, it kind of sticks to them sometimes, but most of the time you can use some cornstarch or something and that'll get it out. Now, Sure's name has a little accent mark above the E, so I'm just going to use a little piece of this black fondant, and I'm going to do it like that, right above that E. And while I've got the black rolled out, I'm also going to make some unicorn eyes. Now the way I do it is, it looks like, kind of like a little lash with little, lashes sticking out to the side. So I start out with a circle, and so I'm gonna cut, and this is just a piping tip. It's one of those Russian piping tips. So I'm gonna use that first. And then, after I get those set aside, I'm going to take a smaller tip, and I'm going to cut a little off center. I don't know if you can see that, but that's got it kind of off center. I'm going to take the middle out of it. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Take the middle out of that. Can you see where I'm going here? So it looks kind of like little lashes, right? So I'm going to cut about halfway across on both of them. Now, see? That kind of looks like a little unicorn eye. I think this one's a little bit smaller, so I'm going to cut a little more off of this one. That's about right. And whenever you have little jagged edges, you can use fondant tools to clean those up, and I'll do that later. But I just wanted to show you the gist of it. But these little pieces that I cut off, you can add to the edge and just pinch them off, and it makes it look like little lashes. And again, you can make these stick with water. So that's what I'll do with this, is make them stick to the larger piece with water. And I know it's a little fiddly work, but you know, it's the little touches that you do that make it look like it's supposed to. And this cake is going to be so cute, and whenever she sees it and she cuts into it, she's going to be so happy because the little colors, all the rainbow colors and the flavors, this cake is going to be something that she's really going to have fun with. So that makes me happy. So I went ahead and added some light brown to my yellow fondant. So I mixed those two together, and I've rolled them out kind of thinner at the ends and thicker in the middle. And I'm going to take my pizza cutter, and I'm just going to cut off the end of that so that it looks like I have two. And then I'm going to twist these together around and around and around and around. And you can see it kind of looks like a unicorn horn. Now, this is a 6-inch tier on the top that this is going to go on. So I don't want it to be too tall. So I'm going to cut off some more of this. And as you can see, this looks like a unicorn horn. Now what I'll do is I'm going to put this on a stick so that it can go down into the cake. And I'm going to put a little bit of water on the stick so that it sticks to the fondant. And then I'm just going to kind of thread it through the bottom. And I'll roll it some more. And whenever this dries, I'll paint it with edible luster dust. It's really like sugar, but it's gold colored, so it'll look like shiny gold, even though it's made of marshmallow fondant, so it'll be completely edible. But that's how you do a unicorn horn. Okay, I'm back, and what I've done is I have rolled out some plain white fondant. I just used my fondant roller and I rolled out the white, and then the same color that I did with the horns, I rolled out some of that thinly, okay? Now I have this, it's like a leaf cookie cutter, basically is what it is, and I'm gonna use that for my ear shape. So I'm just gonna cut out two of these, just like that. So I've got the white cut out. And then I don't want this to be as big because I'm only going to use part of it because I want it to be smaller than this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the same size, but I'm only going to use part of it. So I'll probably cut some of that off because I don't want it to take up the whole ear. And these can be cut off at the bottom so that they're more flat because they're going to be going down into a cake with little sticks. So what I do is I'm going to use that same pizza cutter and I'm going to cut off the point from the bottom of them so that it's more flat, right? And then with this piece, I'm just going to kind of line it up to see, you see what I'm doing? I'm bringing it down further so that it looks like the inside of the ear, right? And then I'm cutting it off there. So that's going to be kind of the way the ear looks. I am going to cut a little bit off of the sides just so this is a little bit thinner than the white part. See? And that'll line up with that. And what I'll do is I'll put luster dust, the gold luster dust I'm going to put on the horn. I'm going to put it on the inside part of the ear as well. And then I'm going to use sticks to go in the ears like this. And then once I stick those to it and put this part on top after I get it gold, then these will go down into the cake as soon as they're dry. So that'll be the ears for the unicorn. Easy peasy. So today's the next day after the working on this cake. So most of this cake is Swiss meringue buttercream. So that's what I covered it with, and that's what I decorated it with. You guys saw me making the little eyes and cutting out the name and making the little rainbow. Here's the unicorn horn and the ears. I haven't put those on the cake yet because I'm waiting for them to dry completely. But this is the little rainbow unicorn cake, and that's for my cousin's little girl. So isn't it adorable? I mean, once the horn and the ears are on there, it'll be a perfect little unicorn. So there you go.